wonderful people. Hello, how are you? Welcome to Just Say No to Narcs. Thank you for pressing play for another video. Thank you to all of you who donate to this channel. Thank you to those who continue to support by listening and sharing. Thank you to those of you who are new to our community. Welcome, and I hope that the information I share today is helpful for you as you continue your journey of overcoming narcissistic abuse. Today's video, I'm going to discuss the Leviathan Spirit again. And maybe I'll be more detailed than I was in the last video, but I didn't listen to the last video so that I could share what's on my heart today about the Leviathan Spirit and not, go back into the same discussion. I want to start with, I know people say we have a heavy discussion about the Jezebel Spirit and the narcissist. And yes, I believe Jezebel is an operating spirit within the narcissist, along with the Leviathan and or Python spirit. So let me explain first. Let me start with the Jezebel Spirit. The Jezebel Spirit is, it seeks to be a counterfeit. And it wants to exert control. And so really the Jezebel Spirit is like the false image that the narcissist puts forward. They pretend to be someone or something they're not. Usually they're a counterfeit of you or the person they were with, or they're the victim before you. And so the Jezebel Spirit, when it is operating, it is it's a counterfeit. It is deceptive, just like the Python and the Leviathan Spirit. It manipulates. It keeps you in a constant state of confusion. It has the component of sexual temptation. It degrades and mocks holiness by presenting false gods before you. And it feels that it has the right to judge. And here's a big one with the Jezebel Spirit. It is envious. It is a very jealous spirit. And so it's a jealous spirit. It wants to take control of other people. It wants to be the teacher, the head, the one that's steering the ship. It has to be in control, as does the spirit of Leviathan. However, the Jezebel Spirit is something that is a spirit that, we can overcome through prayer and deliverance ministry and things like that. But the Leviathan Spirit is a much stronger spirit. It is a strong man. And this spirit can only be taken down by God. Only be taken down by God. This is why Job in Job 41 says that once you experience Leviathan, you will not forget. Of course, you won't forget dealing with Jezebel's, ratchet behind either. But the spirit of Leviathan is a very strong and destructive spirit. Its main goal is destruction. All demonic spirits are destructive, but Leviathan is like the uncle, I think, of all of these spirits. There are different spirits that the narcissist can operate in at any given time because this person has been turned over to a reprobate mind. And so they operate in darkness. So they can do anything at any time. People tell you that they're on a spectrum, and some of them are on the lower end, and they'll try to make you think that they're more tolerable than other, but they are all operating within the spirit of Leviathan, which is to destroy. The thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. God came so that we might have life more abundantly. So the narcissist on any day could be on a psychopathic level. I don't care what they tell you. When you're dealing with demonic activity, that spirit can turn into anything at any point. It is dangerous. It is not of God. It is of the devil. And we know that Satan can turn at any point, turn it up. all the way to murder. Someone, and this is why you look up, and that person, that narcissist in the community, seemed to have been a great person to everyone. So how did they go all the way to killing their entire family and themselves? Because people were unwilling to look at the red flags and to approach that spirit and to allow God to remove that spirit from their neighborhoods, from their churches, from their workplaces, from their businesses, from their friendships and families. And so the spirit of Leviathan, the whole goal is to come in and destroy relationships. Leviathan wants to destroy every relationship. It is a spirit that is rooted in pride. Jezebel's rooted in envy. Leviathan is rooted in pride. And this spirit is so strong, it sits back, it comes in, and it twists information. It twists what you said, what others have said, to cause confusion and bring forth destruction. And so it hates when people are in unity, and it hates covenant. It hates when you create a covenant with God. It hates that you want to be in a committed, loving relationship and live a righteous life. The spirit of Leviathan wants to be your God. It wants to control you and bring you to a level of misery, just like the creature that has moved in on your relationship or in on your life, which is the narcissist. So the spirit of Leviathan, and or I consider it like that and the Python spirit almost one and the same. And the Python spirit we know is as territorial. And so it's rooted in pride, and it wants to control, and it's very territorial. And because it twists around everything, confuses everything, keeps you walking around in circles and never resolving anything with the brethren, then this is the way that it keeps control. And if you try to buck up against it, then it's going to try and completely destroy you. This is the spirit that walks into churches and starts with the little subtle things that they don't like, whispering in everyone's ear about something different that is probably not even there. It's not even an issue, but now it becomes an issue the more that the spirit of Leviathan starts to speak into your ear and isolate everyone in the church, as many of the leaders as possible, because they start with leadership. Remember, the spirit of pride wants to believe that it is above reproach. And so it starts with the leadership, and that just trickles on down to the body. And this is how you see churches just completely destroyed. Sometimes the leader themselves are narcissistic, and they come in with that spirit and completely destroy people. They traumatize people. And so the spirit of Leviathan, again, is a prideful, controlling, territorial spirit. All right. And so let's think of it from in a relationship with the narcissist. Many of you, before getting into those relationships, I've heard this so many times, you were on the up and up. A lot of you were starting to pray again, starting to read your Bibles again, starting to just make some changes, positive changes in your life. And you felt like, oh, okay, I'm doing pretty good. I think I can be at a point where I'm ready to date, and, I'm looking for someone who's making the changes that I'm making. You were kind of in a positive space. And so here comes the spirit of Leviathan, because in our ignorance and lacking knowledge, we were unaware and we were unprepared for what was coming. And so the spirit of Leviathan comes through the narcissist, and of course, again, the spirit of Leviathan and Jezebel, all of these different spirits operating, and comes in to mock and to be a counterfeit of what it is that God really wants for your life. And when it presents that counterfeit in the Jezebel spirit, then it turns into controlling and the pride and a feeding off of what we call supply, but having that entitled character or behavior, which is really a prideful behavior. Now it owns you. Jezebel has done her work, and now Leviathan is going to take full control and ownership of you after deceiving you and being a counterfeit and manipulating you into a relationship. And so this spirit comes to destroy your covenant with God. And so your prayer is affected. Worship is no longer existing. You don't trust God anymore. You denounce church. You start to go on a journey away from God. I've been there, so this is why I can say this. I know what the experience is like. When I first met the sociopath, both of my exes, for one, but definitely the sociopath, I was getting back on track. I'd spoken to him, several times about church and getting into church, but instead of me submitting to God's will, I submitted to the spirit of Leviathan that reside within that creature. And so I began to break away from reading my Bible, break away from praying, break away from the idea of returning to church. Until I found myself doing things that I had never done, like profanity was never really a part of my everyday conversation, but it had become a part of it. So I've used profanity more in the past couple years than I ever had in my entire life. And these are the things that, and I'm not saying that because someone uses profanity, that something's wrong with them. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that was not me. And so I was becoming something I didn't want to be and that I never had been. I was allowing the spirit of Leviathan to come and destroy my covenant with God and my relationship with my family and friends and isolate me. The spirit of Leviathan destroys your relationships. It comes into your life, and the friends that you used to have and enjoy spending time with, you no longer get to do that because the spirit of Leviathan is going to isolate you. It wants to control you. It wants to be your God. That is what the spirit of pride, it makes people feel that they are exalted above God, that they are entitled to things that they don't work for. And so it comes in, destroys your friendships. A lot of people lose their jobs because the spirit of Leviathan will destroy your relationships with co-workers, your credibility. The spirit of Leviathan comes to break down your trust in God. It really is all about taking you away from God as far as possible so that you are fair game on Judgment Day. And so it comes in and it breaks down all of these relationships, the unity that you've built in churches, your family relationships. And sometimes these spirits are operating within your family, and you have people like this within your family. But the only way to defeat Leviathan is through God, returning to God, turning to God, repenting, asking God for a clean heart and a renewed spirit within you. The Leviathan spirit hates, the Jezebel spirit hates. This is why they want to put up false gods before you so that you will turn away from God. And again, you'll be isolated and you're fair game. You have nothing else to lean on. You trust no one because this spirit has completely destroyed your trust in people and in God, in unity, and you no longer can see anymore. You become blinded by Leviathan. And within your blindness, people try to reach out to you, try to help you see things a certain way, to see what's taking place in your life. And at a certain point, you can't even see it. And it's going to take God. It's going to take God to come in and rid your life of that spirit. But you must be in agreement with God for that to happen. So God is a gentleman. He doesn't just come in and take over your will and just clean up your life because that's what he wants to do now. No, you have to be willing to accept it. But know that if you're looking at God as though you can't trust God and that God is not looking out for you, that is the spirit of Leviathan and operating in your life, deceiving you, making you think that you are alone. But remember, God is not the author of confusion. And so some days you feel that you can love God and things are going well, and other days you feel like you are disconnected. That is the spirit of Leviathan trying to continue operating in your life. So continue praying and asking God to help you rid your life, your relationships. Ask God to help you identify where the spirit is operating so that you can remove yourself from that situation. A lot of times you have to remove yourself and allow God to fight that battle. But again, like Job says in Job 41, that once you experience Leviathan, you will never forget. And God uses that. God uses that experience to help you remember the importance of not disconnecting from him, the importance of staying in the safe place with him, in the peaceful space with him. And so Leviathan jolts people awake oftentimes. You're either jolted awake or you stay in a fog, a destructive fog until the death. But Leviathan is king over all the children of pride. Who are the children of pride? Narcissists are the children of pride. And Leviathan rules and steers the life of a narcissist. A narcissist has been a willing vessel for the spirit of Leviathan to come in and to take control of their lives. They are unwilling to change, unwilling to budge. Unlike you and I, we are self-reflecting and thinking of the things that maybe we can change in our lives and how we've allowed that spirit into our lives and making changes and ridding ourselves of the toxicity that had come and tried to spoil our relationship with God. So I hope that this tidbit was helpful. I want to continue these discussions about what is really taking place when you're dealing with narcissists. I'm telling you, if we don't get to the spiritual aspect or discussion about this, we cannot defeat it. This spirit is coming and destroying psychologists. They're causing them to be in distress. They cause sickness in your body. They cause fog in your brain, memory issues, anxiety issues. All of this comes from the stress of having the spirit of Leviathan twisted around your spine and around your mind. So we want to get close to God so that that spirit will leave us for good. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I pray that you all have a fantastic day, and thank you so very much again for sharing your time with me.